Hi guys, it's Lucy, and today I'm going to be doing my mid-year goals and stats check-in. So first I'm going to be talking to you about the goals that I set at the beginning of 2017. I did a whole video about them, so if you'd like to check that out, it'll be linked down below. Then I'll just check into you on some stats that I keep track of using a spreadsheet made by Brock from Let's Read, and I'll leave that video where he talks about that down below in case you're interested in starting your own. It's never too late to track your readings if you want to be a nerd like me. And yeah, so first let's talk about my goals. My first reading goal is of course my Goodreads goal, and this year I set it to 65 books, and so far this year I have read 37, making me 4 books ahead, which is super cool. I'm doing great. A lot of those were graphic novels, so that definitely does help. Then I had a goal to read 6 classics, and I am in the middle of reading my 3rd one, which means I'm a little behind because technically I should be done with my half one since it is the 7th month of the year, but that's okay. I'm basically on track in my head. My next goal is to reread 6 books, and so far I've reread 5, so I am way ahead of that goal. It did help that I did reread the first 4 books of the series of Unfortunate Events series. Read 12 books by Black authors. So far I've read 7, so I am exactly on track. My next goal was to read 12 diverse books. So far I've read 3. This is the one I've kind of had the most trouble with because I haven't known exactly what to count as diverse. I had to make some decisions there, so I eventually decided that I'm counting a diverse book if the main character is diverse in some way. That could be sexuality, whether they have a disability, race, or anything like that. And I'm not counting books with Black main characters because that is going for my read books by Black authors. But I'm not counting if the author had some kind of diverse part of them, but their main character doesn't. I'm definitely not trying to disregard anyone's lives or anything like that. This is supposed to be about me reading different kinds of perspectives. For me, it's important that the main character is exemplifying what I want, if that makes sense. I feel like I'm explaining this really badly, but if you have any questions, you can feel free to ask in the comments. My last goal is to finish 5 series, and so far I have finished 4. So once again, I'm doing really good on that challenge. My actual last goal is my 2017 TBR, which is a list of 10 books that I came up with that I really wanted to get read this year. So far I've only read 1, so that has not been going well. If you want to see what books I put on that list, then feel free to check out that video. The only book on that list I've read is Carry On by Rainbow Rowell. Everything else I haven't read, but I do have some of them out from the library, so that should change soon. And now let's go into the stats. Most of these stats have charts associated with them, so you can see like percentages and things like that. I'm gonna read out actual numbers because I don't know, I think it'll be easier that way. I'm gonna move over so you can see the chart, and I have room to put in the chart. So as I've said, I've read 37 books so far this year. So also the total number of books I've read minus graphic novels is 29. These stats are based on that. And first let's talk about genre and format. So I've read 8 science fiction books. Most of them were actually the Saga series. 5 fantasy, 9 contemporary, 2 classics, 1 literary fiction, 1 nonfiction, 2 memoir, 4 dystopian, 4 gothic literature, and 1 steampunk book. And the total number of pages I've read has been 10,641, which averages to about 288 pages per book. I've read 22 physical books and 15 digital, and digital includes ebooks as well as audiobooks. So for format of books, I've read 8 graphic novels, 8 hardcovers, 5 trade paperbacks, 1 mass market paperback, 10 ebooks, and 5 audiobooks. And for audiobooks, I've listened to 47.1 hours of audiobooks, but since I actually read audiobooks anywhere between 1.5 and like 2.2 speed, my actual listening time is about 26.2 hours. For the age groups I've been reading, 16 have been adult books, and 17 have been YA, and 4 have been middle grade, which was a series of Unfortunate Events. Normally, the adult is not nearly so high. But as I said, I've been reading a lot of graphic novels, and most of the graphic novels I read are adult-oriented graphic novels. For author gender, 14 of the books that I've read have been by cis male authors, 21 have been by cis female authors, and 2 have been by both cis male and cis female authors. It's a little surprising that the male number is so high, actually. I do have a tendency to gravitate towards female authors, but once again, I think it's the graphic novels. But to go with that, my protagonist gender has a much more expected spread of genders. 4 of the protagonists have been cis male, 20 have been cis female, 13 have been an ensemble. For years published, I have definitely gravitated towards more recently published books, which once again is expected. 26 of the books I've read have been published between 2010 and 2016. 2 have been 2017 new releases, which honestly is unexpected. I feel like I haven't been reading any. 2 were published before the 1920s, which are the 2 classics that I read. 1 was published sometime in the 40s, 1 was sometime in the 70s, 3 were in the 90s. I have 2 that were published in the 2000s before 2010. For the origins of the authors that I've been reading, 35 have been from the United States and 2 have been from the UK. That wasn't exactly a goal of mine to branch out. I think that's going to be more of a next year goal. Also, for the books per month I've been reading, I read 14 books in January, which is when I had winter break, and then 4 books in February, March, April, and May, and then 6 in June, and so far I've only read 1 in July. And for my average page count, I have been reading 29 pages per day, which means I'm averaging about a book every 10 days. Which I do think could be a little better. So far this year, I have given 0 books 5 stars, 3 books 4.5 stars, 22 books 4 stars, 10 books 3.5 stars, and 2 books 3 stars. And nothing has gotten below a 3 star, which I think is really good. And so my average rating is 3.85 stars. I have mostly been reading standalones. Oh no, actually that's a lie. That's crazy. I've actually mostly been reading series this year, with 17 books being a part of series and 14 being standalones, which is really crazy for me. Yes, the numbers are very close. I'm so used to mostly reading standalones, so I do think that my challenge of finishing series has definitely added to that change. And lastly, let's talk about diversity. First, let's talk about author race, which is something that I track, and it wasn't originally in the spreadsheet. But 8 of the authors I've read have been Black, which I think is an off number because when I was checking into my goals, I had 7, so I'm not sure which is correct. 25 have been White, 1 has been East Asian, 1 has been South Asian, and 2 have been Middle Eastern. So I could definitely be doing better in reading books by not white people. And then other aspects of diversity, 2 of the books I've read have had sexuality diversity, 1 has featured a disability, 7 have had some kind of combination of diversity, which means that the main character could be gay and also Black or something like that, but there was no good option for including that, so I had to choose combo. 5 have been author-only diversity, and that's when the author themselves is marginalized in some way, but then their characters are not. So I think those are all the stats I have to share with you guys. I think that was really interesting. I learned some stuff about my own reading because I haven't really been looking too closely at these stats. So thank you so much for watching. If you liked this video, please be sure to give it a thumbs up. If you have any opinions about anything that I just shared with you guys, please feel free to leave a comment down below. And let me know if you're tracking any statistics about your reading, and if you are, let me know like an interesting fact. If you haven't already, please be sure to subscribe to my channel because I make more videos where I talk about books. Again, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in my next video. Bye!